So for today's video, this is kind of like a dinner vlog and my son is cooking. His favorite are ground turkey enchiladas. I've done this recipe before, but he's cooking and I'm super proud of him. It's gonna be good. So for those of you that have followed me for a long time, I used to vlog a lot with my family, but I kind of took those videos down. My son used to have a YouTube channel when he was younger. I took that down because he no longer wanted to do YouTube. These days, he is quite the piano player. Along with his studies at home, we have been very involved in him playing piano and supportive of his recitals, and he does have a competition coming up. So when I'm not on YouTube, this is pretty much what I'm doing. And I'm super proud of him. So we started with cooking ground turkey. Those of you that have been following me know I always make enchiladas, probably once a week, but my son loves the ground turkey. So let me show you what seasonings we used for the ground meat. I'm going to make the ground meat. You can use ground beef, which is typically what I do, but today I only had ground turkey, so that's what I'm doing, ground turkey enchiladas. So I'm just going to season it with a little bit of granulated garlic powder, ground cumin. I'm also going to add chili powder to this. Here I'm adding granulated onion powder, and I'm going to add just a little bit of salt. Sometimes I like to add chicken bouillon powder, but for those of you that have been following me for years, a lot of you have asked for an enchilada recipe without using chicken or beef bouillon powder into the recipe, so this is the one today. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to omit the bouillon powder and just opt for salt. I also added cracked black pepper, and I'm just going to cook until everything is cooked through and browned. And because I'm using lean ground turkey, there really isn't any extra rendered fat. So that's good. Yay for that. Okay, so this is done. So I'm going to place this in a bowl, and I'm going to use the pan again to make the sauce. So once the meat is done, we worked on the enchilada sauce. This style of sauce is more like an enchilada gravy. And you start it by making a roux. Let me show you how we did that. Okay, so back on the stove with the same pan. This is very convenient, by the way. I'm going to turn on the heat, and over a medium to medium-low heat, I will be adding cooking oil into the pan, around 3 to 4 tablespoons. Here I have a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour going in, and I'm going to start the roux. For those of you that want an enchilada sauce recipe without using flour and dried seasonings and spices, I do have an enchilada sauce recipe video that I will link in the description below. It gives you 2 ways to make a red enchilada sauce. Now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of light chili powder. This is kind of like a chili powder blend. And for those of you that are curious, I love to use Bollner's Fiesta brand. I'm also going to be adding a little bit of ground cumin, granulated garlic and onion powder, and I will also be adding a can of chicken broth. It has a little bit of sodium in it, so at this point, since I'm not using chicken bouillon powder in the mix, you'll want to salt to taste. It's to your preference, so you will have to taste it to add the salt that you prefer. Okay, so I'm going to add a 14.5 ounce can of chicken broth. Now typically I like to use 16 fluid ounces of water and 1 tablespoon of chicken or beef bouillon powder for the liquid in here, but like I said, I'm not using bouillon powder today for those of you that just do not want to use it, so this is another option. So this is only 14.5 fluid ounces, so the other 1.5 ounce I'll add in water. So you'll want to bring it to a simmer and let it thicken, and once it's like this, simmering and thickened, I'm just going to shut off the heat and it's done. So here he's just stirring and waiting for the sauce to thicken. Once it's done, we're going to shut off the heat, and I like to place it into a large measuring cup. It pours out easier. And here we were prepping the corn tortillas by passing them through hot oil. you don't really fry these crispy. What you do is you heat them through and the hot oil will soften them. So when you go to roll out the enchiladas, they don't break. And the other ingredient is cheese. You use somewhere between like 12 to 14 ounces of Colby Jack cheese or the cheese of your choice. And here he's going to tightly roll around 15 to 16 enchiladas. And he's doing a great job. These enchiladas, like I said earlier, we have to make them once a week. It's just something that my family requests. And sometimes I do with the side of rice and beans. Sometimes, like today, just the enchiladas. So just gently. There you go. Good job. Keep going. All over. Go in a line now. There you go. All over. So once the sauce is poured over, you'll want to spread it out to make sure all the enchiladas are covered, and then add the rest of the cheese. And eventually, I'm going to cover this with foil, and we're going to put it in a preheated oven. You can use 375 degrees Fahrenheit, but my oven is not calibrated right. It doesn't matter what I do to it, so I go for 400 for about 25 minutes. And once they're done, with the help of my husband, he's going to place this on the countertop. You can let them set for about 5 minutes, but I love them heated, melty, gooey cheese. It's so good. So I'm going to serve a plate, and I'll show you how we do this. So everything is bubbly and melty. It's so good. And the Tex-Mex style enchiladas that I made today, this recipe is in my cookbook. I will put a link in the description below. Okay, so this is my son's plate, and what we like to do, which you can do this, you don't have to. Sometimes we eat them just like this, but today, since we're just making enchiladas for dinner, I like to top it with shredded fresh lettuce and thinly sliced onion. I'm going to put that right on top. And I'm going to dollop some Mexican crema on top. This is sour cream. Use what you've got. And like I said, you don't have to garnish or top it at all. I'm just trying to make this extra hearty since this is what we're eating today. And I have leftover everyday salsa. This is also in my cookbook. I made this the other day when I made bean and cheese tacos. It's so good. And this is dinner. And I can't wait to dig in. So I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.